Have you ever wondered, why do some people become millionaires at a young age, while others spend their entire lives struggling with bills and loans? Are they smarter than you? Were they lucky enough to be born into a wealthy family? Or do they have some secret that the world won't share with you? The truth is, life isn't fair, and that's nothing new. Some people buy a coin on a whim and wake up with millions of dollars in their bank account. Some people post a video on TikTok, go to sleep, and wake up a millionaire. But if you think wealth is all about luck, you're putting yourself out of the game. Because no matter how chaotic the world gets, there's always a group of people who have been quietly going the long way, building huge fortunes step by step with practical strategies that you can absolutely learn from. The question isn't, can I be rich, but rather, am I ready to learn how to be rich? In this journey, you don't need to be a genius. You don't need to start a business with hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't even need to have special connections. What you need is the right mindset, a smart strategy, and a little more patience than others. This video will give you a clear roadmap to building wealth. Not the illusory kind of wealth, but real wealth. Having money, having freedom, having the right to choose how you live every day. Before you start, you need to clarify one important thing. Do you want to become super rich, the kind of person with $100 million or more? Or do you just want financial freedom, enough to not have to worry about money every day? Many people think they want to be rich enough to buy anything. But in reality, when you have too much money, life is no longer like in the movies. It's like the game of Monopoly. At first you're happy because you're winning, buying a house, building a hotel. But then you look around, there's nothing left to buy, no one to play with. The game ends in emptiness, and you realize you don't need that much to be happy. On the contrary, just becoming a millionaire, that is, having a net worth of over $1 million, can give you more freedom than 99% of the world's population. No need to work 16 hours a day, no need to manage hundreds of employees, and still be able to buy almost everything you really need. So, before you dream of becoming a billionaire, ask yourself, do you really want to live that life? Or are you just dreaming because you see others doing it? Because if you do it just to be famous, you will quickly burn out and become disillusioned. Financial success at any level requires a reason deep enough to keep you engaged in it for the long term. And believe me, when you have $1 million, not in your dreams, but in reality, you will see everything around you change. Your thinking changes. Your relationships change. Even the way you breathe changes. In the next section, I will help you do that. Not with empty promises, but with concrete steps. The journey to becoming a millionaire starts right now. Before we get to the main point, I have a question. Do you know exactly what millionaire means? It's not just having $1 million in your hand, nor is it simply making $1 million over your lifetime, because many people do that and then spend it all. A millionaire is someone who has a net worth of $1 million or more. Net worth is calculated by subtracting total liabilities from total assets. It's simple, but this is the point that 90% of people do not understand. They think they're rich because they earn a lot. But in fact, they're living on a pile of debt, spending it all before they have anything left. For example, if you have a luxury car worth $100,000 but borrow $95,000 from the bank, that means your net worth is $5,000, not $100,000. You have a $500,000 house, but a $400,000 mortgage? What does that mean? Net worth is $100,000. So don't be fooled by appearances. The person with a beat-up old car is sometimes richer than the person with the shiny new Lamborghini. One very basic thing we need to understand is that what are assets? What are liabilities? Get it right, and you'll be better off than 80% of people out there. An asset is anything you own that can increase in value over time. For example, cash in your bank account, stocks, gold, Bitcoin, a house you buy and own, equipment that generates income like a pressure washer, a video camera, or a laptop for freelancing. On the other hand, liabilities are anything you still owe to someone else. For example, car loans, student loans, credit card debt, home loans. The key to becoming a millionaire isn't about avoiding all debt. It's about knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is borrowing money to spend. For example, borrowing to buy an iPhone, luxury goods, or taking a vacation and then paying back the interest. Good debt is using borrowed money to create assets. For example, borrowing to buy a house and then renting it out for profit. or borrowing to invest in yourself and learn a skill that will help you increase your income. Poor people spend money to feel rich. Rich people use money to make more money. Listen carefully. The majority of millionaires in the world got rich through real estate. No, you don't need $500,000 to buy a $500,000 house. What you need is to understand the rules of the game. And here's how it works. You put down 20%, $100,000, and borrow the rest from the bank. You then rent out the house, and the monthly rent goes to pay the bank. After a few years, the house appreciates in value. You sell it and make a few $100,000. Repeat. That's why real estate is called the patient man's game. It's not about getting rich overnight, it's about getting rich systematically. Time combined with the right strategy equals financial freedom. If you read books, research the market, learn how to value properties, and manage rentals, you're not just making money, you're building a sustainable financial ecosystem for the future. Remember, the difference between a rich person and a poor person is not luck. It is knowing something that others do not know. Now you understand that to keep $1 million, you have to earn close to $2 million. The question is, how do you actually make that number? That sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, it becomes much more doable. There are 4 main paths people take to wealth buying and selling assets: working a high-paying job, starting a business, or some combination of all 3. And you don't have to be a genius to do any of them. But what you need to understand is that each path comes at a cost. Many people underestimate the power of working for someone else. But a good job can absolutely make you rich. If you earn $200,000 a year, it will take you about 10 years to reach $2 million, and if you invest properly, that time can be cut in half. The problem is, you need a highly valuable skill, one that the market is willing to pay for. And here's the first lever, the skill lever. Don't think you're poor because you're not smart. No, you're poor because your skills aren't rare enough and don't create clear value. Whether you want to be a programmer, a designer, a financial expert, or a psychologist, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you commit to becoming better than 95% of the people in your field. But learning a skill isn't enough. You also need to know how to sell it. That is, how to put that skill in the right place, at the right time, so that it generates money. That could mean submitting your resume correctly, building your personal brand, taking on freelance work, getting certifications, doing real projects, and negotiating your value. And the good news is every skill can be learned. If you're persistent enough and know how to learn it properly, if you want to go faster, you can choose to start a business. This is the path that can take you from nothing to $1 million in just a few years. But it can also take it all away in just a few months. The problem is that most people fail in business not because they are not smart, but because they do not understand the rules of the game. They open a restaurant because they think they cook well. They sell cosmetics because they see others selling. They start a startup because they think this idea is good. But the market does not care what you think. It only cares what problem do you solve, for whom, and are you faster and more effective, cheaper than others? If you cannot answer those 3 questions clearly, you should not start a business. Take the time to research, learn, and do small tests. There is no need to rush. In the business world, blind and fast is just a quick way to hit a wall. A better strategy for many people is to combine multiple paths. They start with a stable job, use their savings to invest in assets, then start a small business project on the side. There's no need to quit your job and pursue your passion right away. Let your job feed your dream. Work during the day, learn a new skill at night, work extra on the weekends, and use that money to invest in further education. Gradually, your skills will improve enough to move on to a better job. Your income will increase. You'll have capital to invest in real estate, stocks, or a side business. Slowly but surely, you'll be on your way to $2 million without even realizing it. The truth is, you don't need a genius idea to succeed. All you need is discipline, a clear plan, and consistency every day. When you stick with it for 5 to 10 years, you can achieve what most people dream of in their entire lives. And here's my question. Are you ready to learn how the richest people in the world use leverage to work less, but earn 10 times more than the average person? Now, I will share the secret weapon to multiply your income by 10 without doubling your effort. Leverage. It sounds like a word from a physics book, but in the world of the rich, it's the ultimate tool for doing less and making more. Imagine there's a giant boulder you need to lift. You can use your hands, your whole body, Or you can just put a lever in the right spot and flick it. It will lift the boulder like nothing. That's how smart people work. And rich people use levers every day, not to do more, but to amplify the results of what they're already doing. The first type of lever is labor, that is, using other people's time and skills to expand your work. If you're running a small business, you can't do it all by yourself. Hire good people, delegate the right tasks, and create efficient systems, and you'll be able to scale without increasing the stress. Don't try to be a superhero. Learn to be a leader. The rich don't ask, "What should I do?" They ask, "Who can do this better than me?" The second type of leverage is capital. When you have money or know how to raise money, you can invest it in things that make more money. Buy real estate, invest in startups, invest in stocks, index funds. Capital is the leverage that helps you turn $1 into 10, 10 into hundreds. But remember, capital leverage only works if you have knowledge. Otherwise, it can be a double-edged sword. It can get you up fast, but it can also get you down just as fast. The third type of leverage is code. Technology, software, automation. In the age of AI, you don't need to hire a whole team to do repetitive tasks. Think of a website that sells while you sleep, a chatbot that takes care of customers 24/7, or a system that automatically emails 10,000 people with a single click. You're working smart, not hard. And really, code leverage is what allows you to duplicate your work without spending a minute more. Finally, and perhaps most powerful, is media. A video you shoot today can be viewed by millions of people for years. A blog post, an email, a piece of content on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all have the potential to deliver a message and generate value, customers, revenue, and without you even being there. This is how content creators, solopreneurs, build multi-million-dollar empires from their laptops. Think about it if you want to be rich, not just living, but really rich. You can't just work hard. You have to learn to amplify your efforts. Leverage is the bridge between ordinary effort and extraordinary results. And no, you don't have to choose all of them. Just one of these levers is enough to change the game. So what's holding you back, you might be thinking? I don't have the capital. I can't code. I'm not good at speaking on camera. Don't worry. Every millionaire started out exactly where you are. No money, no skills, no network. But they started learning. They started trying. They started one step at a time, and each step is a higher level of leverage. In the next section, I'll break down each type of leverage and show you how to use it, whether you're just starting out, whether you're still in school, whether you're working a full-time job, etc. And the best part, you don't have to change who you are. You just have to change how you spend your time and energy. By now, you know what separates the person who struggles with money from the person who becomes a millionaire. It's not IQ. It's not looks. And it's not where they come from. It's how they think, how they act, and how they leverage themselves. You don't have to wait until you're ready to start. Perfect conditions don't exist. Successful people don't wait. They start right where they are. They learn. They try. They fail. They fix. And they repeat. Then, one day, things start clicking, income increases, free time increases, and networks expand. They're no longer chasing money. They're making money chase them. If you're wondering, where do I start? The answer is start with yourself. Pick a skill you want to excel at. Writing, speaking, coding, selling, teaching, whatever it may be. Learn it every day, share it online, turn it into a product, service, or piece of content. Then find the leverage hire people to help you scale. Use technology to automate, and use media to reach more people. Repeat. And over time, the magic happens. Sure, there will be days when you feel frustrated. There will be days when you think, I'm not good enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm not creative enough. But trust me, the one thing you can't do is give up. Because every time you don't give up, you get closer to freedom. Every time you choose to act instead of complain, you're laying a brick in the future you dream of. And here's the last thing I want you to take away from this video. You don't have to be special to start, but you do have to start to be special. Be the first person in your family to achieve financial freedom. Be the friend who looks up to you and says, if he can do it, so can I. And remember, the world is not short of opportunities. It is short of people who dare to believe they deserve better. You have heard enough. Now it is time to start doing